Bayern Munich being crowned the 2020 UEFA Champions League winner. Kingsley Coman's goal, the difference between the two sides. The first ever player, in fact, in the Champions League final to score against his old team. Ali Moreno, Frank Leboeuf and Craig Burley with me to reflect on the final. Craig, that wasn't quite as high scoring as we expected. However, the best team won.
Yeah, the best team won, and we knew PSG would get chances. They did. Clearly didn't take them. That's stating the obvious, but they were good chances. You'd expect much better, particularly the Mbappé chance not long before half-time. Quite an embarrassing finish, to be honest. And I personally didn't think Bayern got much out of first gear in terms of what they can produce, and still were able to control the game and win the Champions League.
Yeah, this wasn't quite what we were expecting, Frank. Why not?
Well, because of clumsiness some players, and Craig just mentioned Mbappé. I'm not sure that Bayern Munich was the best team overall during the season of Champions League. Yes, but on that game, I think they were in control of the game. But Paris Saint-Germain had some chances to surprise them, to kill them even. And without a fantastic Neuer in goal, I think Paris Saint-Germain could have led the game in the first half. But again, many chances wasted by the strikers. And I think if I can resume the game, I think the defenses were better than the attacks.
Which wasn't what we were expecting, of course, Ali.
No, it wasn't. But I think a good example of that was the choice that Hansi Flick makes in terms of having Kingsley Coman playing Sergio Perisic, essentially telling us, you know what, we think Kingsley Coman can dominate 1v1 situations. And in doing that, we don't need, and we're not going to force Alphonso Davies to get forward down the left-hand side, because Kingsley Coman can take care of that himself. Perisic cannot do that as well. He tucks inside. That's where Alphonso Davies goes on the overlapping runs. And I think it's by design then that Alphonso Davies did not really have a participation in the attack. He was holding back, almost as if to say, you know what, this is our way of not dropping off. We're going to maintain our high line, but we're not going to take many chances going forward. And I think what you saw from Bayern Munich is they played a conservative game with a lot of talented players, and they did not want to take chances really going forward, because the times that they did take those chances going forward, then PSG had opportunities. And when we say that PSG had opportunities, we're talking about a PSG team who had the chances fall to the right people. It's to Mbappé, it's to Neymar, it's to Di Maria. Three clear opportunities, in my opinion, in the first half that they did not take advantage of. And from then on, it was difficult to see PSG to get after Bayern Munich, particularly after Bayern Munich scored. When PSG got disorganized, they were more concerned about the fouls, the yellow cards, the physicality of the game, rather than playing the game. And no better example of that than Neymar, who in the second half had difficulties trapping the ball, passing the ball, doing the basic stuff. He was busy drawing fouls, but not actually having an impact on the game.
We gave Neymar a lot of credit going into this game, Craig, talking about this was some of the best football that we'd seen in play for PSG. But as Ali mentioned, that second half performance was much below what you would have expected from your talisman in such a big game.
Ineffectual.
Completely and utterly.
Don't need to say much more. Ineffectual. And Mbappé.
That's the problem, Frank. It's certainly when you wanted your leaders to step up and to fight back and get yourself back into this match, Neymar didn't do it.
No, he didn't do it, and if everybody was pleased with his performances in the quarterfinal and semi-final, because he tried to create it but didn't score any goals, and again today he didn't do it. We want more from Neymar. We, again, in France, because he plays in the Liga, we see him every week in, week out, not doing his best, not giving his best, just shouting to players, teasing players. Of course, it's easy for him, it's League One. But in Champions League, we want him to get something different than the other players. And as Ali said, he spent the half of the second half, complaining about the players, even getting a yellow card and not focusing on his game and trying to make a difference. He had one chance in the first half, he missed it, and he had two chances in the quarterfinal, he missed them. He had one chance in the semifinal, he missed it. So, well, the conclusion is there. You know, he's a great player, but a great player has to make a difference. So he didn't do it, so we're going to be severe with him. And as Craig said, that was appalling.
Yeah, ineffective. And if you're a critic of Neymar, you've just added fuel to the fire, really, Ali.
Yeah, and I think another image that sticks with me about Neymar is, so the final whistle blows, the cameras naturally go to him and his reaction, and he's bursting into tears. And I don't mind a player showing his emotions. That's his prerogative, and that depends on the personality of each player. But what I would say to Neymar is, why are you crying now? What are those tears going to do? This opportunity that you had in front of you was 90 minutes ago, was behind you. The tears aren't going to do anything. What are you trying to buy some sympathy with that? Because it really is not going to fly. If you're Neymar and you played as well as you did leading up to this final, there's a level of expectation as to what you are and what you should be and what kind of player and what kind of impact you should have in a game like this. It's the same standard that you have for guys like Cristiano Ronaldo and you have for Lionel Messi and so on and so forth. So if Neymar wants to be at that level, and this is indeed why he went to PSG, this was the moment. So don't show me tears afterward. Show me the work and the substance and impact in the game that everybody was expecting.
Mbappé just as bad, though, Frank.
It was a little bit better because I think he created better. But it's true that in the last chance that he had, I mean that was appalling when he get the ball and give it to Herrera. Herrera gives him back. He had the poorest shot I ever seen from Mbappé. I don't know, like he lost all the power of his legs, like he didn't want to score because the pressure was too much. I mean, that was really, again, appalling as Neymar. But I think his participation of the game, his creation was a little bit better than Neymar. I will give him a little bit more credit about that. But we knew, and we all knew, that Paris Saint-Germain would have a chance to win if Neymar and Mbappé would be effective. And they haven't been. And the result is as simple as that. They weren't there, so they scored no goals.
But why weren't they there, Craig? This is their stage. This is their time to shine, isn't it?
Well, in some sense, they did change a little bit in terms of their approach, because we talked about it with Frank. How much defending would they do? And actually, you know, Mbappé, particularly in the first half, saw himself back in the left-back area on Mullen on one occasion. He didn't. It was a bit of a hybrid model, because sometimes he would track back and Neymar, and sometimes they wouldn't, and they always caught Bayern on the hop a couple of times. But they were the ones that blinked first in terms of tracking back. We wondered if they would do it, and they were the ones that blinked first. So they changed their style slightly within the game at times to try and thwart Bayern Munich, and maybe that just took a little bit out of the legs, but. It just didn't happen for them. I don't really know why on the night. I thought they would play more balls in behind. I thought they would go over the top quicker, and they didn't. There was only 2 or 3 occasions, really, certainly in the first half, maybe only 1 or 2 in the second half, where Bayern were having to turn and run back towards their own goal. So we saw the two teams play a certain way. Bayern did not change. But I certainly think Thomas Tuchel was the coach who just blinked first.
Yeah, that was leading to the next question, Frank. How much responsibility or blame will Thomas Tuchel get for this?
I don't know. I won't give him any blame about that. You know, I mean, the players are on the field, and some of them, some that we are expecting, will give the difference to Paris Saint-Germain, didn't, and that's it. I mean, of course, they went back, they defended, they changed a little bit their game, but it's part of the game and what the opponent offer to you to make you change what you think of doing. But at the end of the day, they are chances to score. If Neymar and Mbappé and Di Maria scored when they have the chances to score, you say that Tuchel is the best coach in the world. They could have been 3-0 at halftime. But what can you do if you don't give 100% or even 80% when you're Neymar and Mbappé and don't give what we expect from you? Yeah, you can hammer the coach, but what can he do?
How's Icardi feeling, Frank?
Well, hopefully he feels bad because he didn't play and because he didn't come in. But I think I think it's normal to not see Icardi in that game. I mean, we didn't see him in quarterfinal. I think he's not the type of player who would have made the difference in that final, because we needed the pace, we needed players who are capable of taking on other players. And I think Di Maria and Mbappé and Neymar were the right choices. But, they missed their chances.
Listen, Dan. Half the teams. Let me go back to the point Frank made, but just to I think tie a bow on it. In terms of the PSG created some chances. Go back and watch the Bundesliga. Half the teams in the bottom half of the Bundesliga had chances against Bayern Munich, because that's the way they play. The bottom line here is, this was the first time in the knockout stages or the one-off stages of this competition that PSG had faced one of the real big boys. Atalanta have got a budget the size of a packet of chips, and RB Leipzig have got no real pedigree in this competition. So this was the big test. And although they did create the odd chance, like a lot of teams do against Bayern Munich, Bayern in first gear bossed the game and still lost a centre-half in Jerome Boateng and had to make changes themselves, but bossed the game. And I think that was the difference between the two sides.
So did we get too excited about PSG, Craig?
Well, no, they deserve to be there, but we clearly saw the path on the way through was a quite fortunate one for them. In terms of Atalanta, good side, but really don't have the depth of squad. Have a marvellous manager in Gasperini, and RB Leipzig, who've got a really young manager in Nagelsmann and some good players, but have no real pedigree in this competition and had lost their best player in Timo Werner. So the pathway to the final was not easy, but easier for them. But here we had them meeting the informed team in European football, who didn't have to play at their best to get the result.
Dan, I think you need to get some experiences from the Champions League. I mean, it's not the first final, obviously, for Bayern Munich. It was the first one for Paris Saint-Germain, and you learn from there. You learn as a club, you learn as players.
Isn't that just a bit of a... That's an easy excuse in there, Frank. You've got World Cup winners in that side.
It's not, because I have some example. Dan, I have some example. Marseille lost in 91 and won in 93. Chelsea lost the first one and won the second one. And they're not the two clubs that we could name who lost in the first finals and learned from there and won. And again, yeah, you can say that maybe they're not Paris Saint-Germain is not as the same pedigree as Bayern Munich. But again, they had chances to score in the first half. They would have done that. Maybe they would have won. And that's as simple as that. Football is made of details. If you resolve the most detail than the opponent, you're going to win the game. And but the detail is also finishing an action. And they didn't do that detail. They didn't resolve that detail.
And those details only really happened in the first half, Frank. Second half, there was no real spirit, I felt, after they conceded that goal. They seemed to be up on the ropes, and it looked more likely, didn't it, that Bayern were going to get a second as a PSG an equaliser. I think if I'm a PSG fan, that's what would disappoint me, that you're in this Champions League final, your first one ever, and I don't care about your experience in this competition. Surely this is your chance, your opportunity, and no one grasped it.
Well, don't forget that Marquinhos has a fantastic chance, and Neuer saved fantastically the Marquinhos chance. And you're right. It's what I said when we started, that Bayern was in control of the game, but it was the choice of Paris Saint-Germain. Maybe they didn't have the legs. Maybe they were expecting too much from their stars. But defensively, I saw fantastic Kimpembe. I saw fantastic Bernat. Nothing to say about Navas. Same for Thiago Silva. Carrera has maybe the best game of his season. But, well, they conceded one goal, where this is a team, clearly we can score 3 or 4 goals per game. But today, there was a deficiency, how do you say that, from the forwards. And that's the result of the game.
So do you put it down as just one of those days, Ali, for PSG and their stars, or is it deeper than that?
No, I think it'd be too simple to say that it's just one of those days. I think if you're PSG, you look at this as a wasted opportunity. Whether you have had the experiences of the past or not, well, nobody has had the experiences of a pandemic and COVID-19 in the past. And so it made this tournament because in the end it became a tournament, a short tournament. It made it a very unique situation. And in a very unique situation, PSG makes it to the final with all the momentum in the world, feeling good about themselves, with their good players, their best players playing at a high level and confident about their abilities. And now you have the chances to score and you don't. So it's not just as simple as say it's one of those days. I think if you look at the reaction or lack thereof by PSG after Bayern Munich scores, that's the part that you really have to point the finger at and say, wait a minute, where were these guys? Where is the leadership? What you saw from PSG and said then they got divided, they got fractured, they got disconnected all over the place, and everybody is complaining about the calls and the fouls and disruption in play and yellow cards and pushing and shoving, but very little playing. So all the opportunities that PSG had were in the first half, not in the second half. Yes, you mentioned the one by Marquinhos, but aside from that, there was really nothing in the attack from PSG and no real sequence of attack. So Bayern Munich, 1-0, Champions League final. I think they were expecting PSG to get forward and to really give them some trouble. This was as comfortable as 1-0 could have been in a Champions League final against a team as talented as PSG.
And that talent shone through. Craig, the first ever team to win every single match in a Champions League campaign. Without a doubt, the best club team that we saw, of course, in this competition. Absolutely, because Man City equally is talented, but just couldn't get the whole package right. You know, and I thought what was the epitome of the squad togetherness and the harmony that Hansi Flick has harnessed was the pictures of him in the pitch at the end, particularly the one with Thomas Müller with his arms around him. And I think if anybody is going to thank Bayern for appointing this man, it would be Thomas Müller, because he was sat parked on the bench under Niko Kovac, and he's really come back and flourished. But the other interesting thing here is, and we're talking about a Champions League final, what a night for the VAR to pick to go to the burger van. Oh, my God. I mean, the first penalty we could argue about. I actually personally thought it was a penalty because you've got the hands on him on Coman. Then I thought Mbappé should have had a penalty. I can understand the referee missing it, but when VAR looks at it, there's a clear taking out of the calf before the ball, if the ball was played at all. And then the Lewandowski one at the end, where he takes, I can't remember who it was, but he wraps his leg around Lewandowski before there's any contact in the ball. Where the hell was the VAR? Because these are difficult calls for the referee at full speed. And you know, in such a big game, we didn't see any of that. No, we didn't see it. It was as if they were in a bit of a rush, or someone had left the monitor, or indeed not plugged in the VAR. Out of those three calls, Frank, do you agree with Craig?
I don't agree on the first one. I think it's not because you put your hand on the opponent's shoulder that the opponent's going to fall. I mean, that's not as simple as that. I mean, I didn't see. I think it was Kerrer on Coman pushing Coman. He just hold his hand above or on Coman's shoulder, but didn't make any mistakes. And it's not that posture who put Coman down. Now, I agree on the Kimmich foul. For me, it's a real kick on Mbappé foot, and it should have been a penalty. I'm not sure about Lewandowski, the last one. I think, but I agree. It should have been checked out by the ref, but I think he didn't want to go to the VAR, and it might be something that the PSG will complain about. But anyway, it's going to be too late.
So the PSG penalty, yes, and the two Bayern calls, no, from the Frenchman, Ali.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Come on.
Shocked, I tell you. I'm surprised.
No,
I would have given all three of them penalties.
No, because
all three penalties, and we move on with our lives.
No, come on.
Well, the thing you've got to ask
we played football. I can agree that Ali can say that because he was a striker, that if somebody puts his hand on your shoulder and you fall, there is a penalty. But Craig, we've done that as a reflex because we are in contact of the guy, and you put your hand. But if I put your hand on you and we are playing golf, are you falling down? No, because you play football, because you want to trick. Because you want to trick. You want to trick the ref. That's why you go on the floor.
But I just think, and I always go back to, and I hate doing this, but I think it is, and I do hate saying this because I hear it a lot and I'm guilty myself. But if that was a fullback running out of the left back area, past a wide man and the wide man put the arm on the shoulder, the referee's going to give a free kick. So what's the difference when a player has outpaced and outwitted an opponent and got the other side of him, got the wrong side of him? He feels the hand on the shoulder. You're not, I know it's a contact sport, but once you put the hand on the shoulder. Anyway, I thought they were fortunate. I mean, we should say VAR, it's not that VAR didn't check these things. VAR is running all the time. We should let, in case anybody doesn't know that by now, all these things are being checked by VAR. But what it was, the VAR official thought none of them were penalty kicks. Now, I can understand the VAR not thinking the Coman one was a penalty because that's subjective. But let's just take the Mbappé one. As Frank said, it was the Kimmich's challenge. It is clear on replay that it is the calf of Mbappé that is cleared out, or the foot, right? Not the ball. How the hell can a FIFA official sit in a booth, watch the same thing that you and I and everybody else around the world's watched, and not alert the referee? That's the frustrating thing from a football fan.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.